All right. Call to order of the Solano Community College District Governing Board meeting of June 3rd, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
President Cargo Reed.
Here.
Trustee Wynn Greer.
Here.
Trustee Honeychurch. Trustee Kara. Trustee Thurston.
Here.
Trustee Young. Trustee Boyce.
Here.
Student Trustee Rodriguez.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll second that motion.
It was moved by Trustee Rosemary Thurston and seconded by Vice President Jackie Nguyen to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? The motion is passed. Comments from members of the public? There are no comments from members of the public. Closed session. So we will recess into closed session at 6:31 p.m. and resume at 7. Thank you. Hello. We will recess now. It is 7:24 p.m. Reconvenes a regular meeting. We will now reconvene in a regular meeting. Report of action in closed session. There was no action taken in closed session. Comments from members of the public. Are there? All right, there are no comments from the members of the public. All right, we're going to move on to, there's reports. All right, so we're going to move on to the consent agenda action items. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these matters prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and or removed. Time will be provided before the vote for clarification questions without removing an item from the consent agenda. So do we have a,
President Cargo Reed, may I please make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item 11D, which is the discussion about the contracts for Hootsuite in the amount of $50,000, just for a little bit of a brief discussion, please.
do I have a second? All right. It was moved by VP Jackie Nguyen and seconded by trustee Marie Ann. Open up for discussion. Oh, we have to do a vote. Oh, yeah. All right. Do I have a motion to approve? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? The consent agenda was passed. We'll move it, opening it up for discussion, please.
Yes, I just wanted to have a minor discussion, a brief discussion in regards to this contract here. I think it's great that we are moving forward, but is this part of our social media policy that we are trying to implement as we move forward here for the college and for our faculty, staff, and students? Is there somebody here who can answer that question?
Yes. So our public information officer, Christina Lee, is in the audience. Christina, will you come to the podium?
Hello.
Christina is overseeing the implementation of the software and currently in the process of drafting a social media policy.
Yes, good evening. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Hootsuite is
Yeah.
let me hold it up now. Can you
Use
hear
your
me?
teacher voice.
Yes.
I will just hold it. Yes, Hootsuite is not at all. Okay, I'll be a little bit louder. Hootsuite will be part of our social media policy in that it is a social media aggregator. So it is one platform where all of the college's social media accounts live, and it allows us to have more control over a unified message that we put out. So if I have any type of staff that are assigned to creating social media posts, they do that through the Hootsuite platform, and then I look at it and I can approve it. And that's everything from graphics to content language and when things are coming out. This way we can monitor if any posts are coming out around times when it could appear particularly tone deaf, or if the information that is in the posts are not correct, I can reject it and send it back. I can also go ahead and approve the post to go through, but it just allows one place for that information to live. And I can also view what the different groups are doing. We have other social media accounts that are currently not centralized in the communications office, so we're looking to hopefully pull all of those accounts into this one platform.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
How many social media accounts are there that, under the Solano Community College umbrella that are opened by other chairs, departments, individuals, to disseminate the information?
Yes, so over the years, we have calculated somewhere around 15 different accounts exist right now that we have identified on 3 different platforms. Some of those accounts haven't been used in months or years, and so we don't know how to get into those accounts. So that is part of the attempt that we are doing right now to bring those accounts into a more centralized location so that we have control.
One more question here. What are those social media platforms? What seems to be the one that, are out there? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what are they?
So we don't use X right now, which is formerly Twitter. We use Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and they're all used for various stakeholder groups. So on LinkedIn, it's more of our professional level administrative type of things, celebrations of any awards and whatnot. So things that are more industry related for our working people. And then Facebook is used for our students as well as Instagram. We seem to have higher engagement on there as well. So also Hootsuite gives us some metrics too about who our users are, when they are reading our posts and when to engage. And it also gives us times that are most appropriate for certain posts. So it looks at the language, it looks at the imaging, and then it reviews previous posts and how those engagements have gone. And it tells us, identifies a time and date when it would be good to post so that we get optimal engagement with those posts.
Thank you so much there for the information. Really is very helpful. I think this is a very important step in terms of setting the standards for social media policy that may appear to have been lacking here at the college. So thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you.
For doing the heavy lifting on that.
I do have one question for you, Christina. So with this new software as well, so any of the other Solano Community College websites or tags, any of that, anything that has our logo will go through this account if people are tagging and making comments about the Solano Community College?
So I think I'm following your question, but
Yeah, trademarked, right. The things
Yes,
that the Solano
yeah.
Community College owns will all go through this and be able to
Correct.
reach and engage, correct?
yes. So if it is somebody that is a representative of the college and has opened an account in the past because they were allowed to do so, those are the type of accounts that we will pull back into a centralized location so that we have a bit more control over the messaging and what is posted.
All right. Well, thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on. Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve 11D, the contract with,
I make a motion to approve 11D.
I'll second that.
all right, it was moved by Vice President Jackie Nguyen and seconded by Trustee Quentin Boyce to approve the contract. 11D. We're going to end the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? The motion was passed. Going to move on to 13 on consent agenda items. Human Resource Director, Mr. Abate will present.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, President Trustee Cargo Reed and members of the board. Today I'm bringing forward to you some exciting news. We have completed our bargaining cycle with our CSEA bargaining group. They have agreed to an MOU that would basically continue the current contract language for the next 3 years, in theory extending their contract till 2029. This is representation of the positive working relationship we continue to have with our bargaining units. And I'm presenting it to you for your approval. This has gone through their members' approval process. So the last step in ratification would be the board's approval this evening. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve 13A?
I make a motion to approve item 13A.
All right, it was moved by Vice President Jackie Nguyen and seconded by Trustee Rosemary Thurston to approve 13A. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion was passed. We'll move on to Finance and Administration, VP Wheat. Hello.
Sorry, thank you, President Cargo Reed, members of the board. We'll start with item B, which is a contract award for Salas O'Brien for the Fairfield Campus Medium Voltage Coordination Study. When we put in the new boilers, we put in electric boilers, which have at one point this year, back in December, kind of tripped our power and shut off our power. So we want to do this optimizational voltage study to make sure everything's in alignment, and so that we don't have that same issue in the future. and, so that we can avoid those power outages due to that system. So we're asking for your approval at this point.
Do I have a second? It was moved by trustee Anne Marie and seconded by trustee Rosemary Thurston to approve the contract award for 13B. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion was passed. We're going to move on to 13C.
Yes, thank you again. Items 13C and 13D are also for Salas O'Brien. These are for work that has been done into amendments to their contracts that we have for both the 300 and 1200 hydraulic vault project and the central plant replacement project. There were unforeseen issues when they were doing that work, such as leaks and other things like that, that they have repaired. And so we're asking for approval for these amendments for those unforeseen issues that happened.
I'll second that motion.
All right, it was moved by trustee Anne Marie Young and seconded by trustee Clinton Boyce to approve 13C and 13D. Is there any discussion?
I just thought I'd mention that President Cargo-Reed and Trustee Young and I serve on the Measure Q, and the staff has done a great job of keeping us informed of this very complicated hydro loop projects that's keeping our campus cool and warm, and so is vital to our instruction. So thank you. We know it's a very complicated one, so thank you.
Thank you so much, trustee Clinton Boyce. Is all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion was passed. Moving on to 13E.
13E is a change order for E.F. Breton Company for our Building 1600 modernization. There were several items that are included in this change order that have been vetted by our bond team and deemed as fair and reasonable. Some of the change orders include repair to existing mechanical screens on our roof, replacement of existing concrete pavement that was not found in compliance with ADA. There's a lot of ADA work that was done for this change order, and we're asking for your approval.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve item 13E.
It was moved by trustee Quentin Boyce and seconded by trustee Rosemary Thurston to approve 13E. Is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion was passed. Moving on to 13F, VP Lee.
Yes, 13F is our 5-year construction plan. This is an annual construction plan that the state requires of us every year. It is a planning document. It is a wish list, but what it does is it allows the state to have a better sense of what the colleges need across the state so that they can better plan any bonds that may be in the future for the state as a whole, or how the state can support us. And so we're asking for your approval.
Do I have a motion to approve 13F?
I move for approval of item 13F.
I'll second that.
It was moved by trustee Anne Marie Young and seconded by Vice President Jackie Nguyen to approve the 5-year construction plan. Is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion was passed. Moving on to 13G, VP Week.
Yes, thank you again. 13G is a contract award for Phoenix Renewable Services for our Vacaville and Vallejo Center solar repairs. As you may recall, we had solar installed about 10 years ago, and a few years ago, the company that did that filed bankruptcy, and we haven't been able to get support. We've had a hard time locating a service that can not only source the materials that we need, but actually make the repairs. We have now found one. We're confident that they will be able to make the repairs, but we're doing it in a couple phases. So the first phase, make sure that we can get Vacaville and Vallejo up and running on their solar. And as long as that works as we anticipate, then we'll do another contract for the Fairfield campus as well. So we're asking for your approval for this first phase of that repair work.
Do I have a motion to approve 13G?
I'll make the motion to approve 13G, and then I have a question.
I'll second that motion.
All right, it was moved by trustee Quentin Boyce and seconded by Vice President Jackie Nguyen to approve 13G. I'm going to open it up for discussion. Trustee Quentin Boyce.
Thanks. I'm prepared to vote yes on this one for tonight. It's a fairly small start to fixing things that essentially, hopefully, it pays for itself once we get the solar benefits. But I did want to ask, because this is coming from Measure Q, do we not have a different budgeting process for saving and planning for repairs and maintenance of these? It doesn't fall into our regular maintenance? Yeah.
We have, when we do solar, and with our new solar that's hopefully turning on soon in parking lot 2, we have an OMM, an operations and maintenance contract that we do. Unfortunately, that operations and maintenance contract was with the company that filed bankruptcy. And so it literally broke 2 months before they filed bankruptcy. And so we've been we had to have them go through their motions so that we didn't break our contract with them before we could go out to a third party. And so we've been doing all that and then trying to actually source the materials because they kind of held the intellectual property on that as well. It's been a struggle, but fingers crossed.
I'm dealing with similar in my own house. I got solar, and then the company, 1 year when I was getting them, they were highly rated, and then lost their California license and went out of business.
So this contract does include some O&M on that as well.
Okay. Great.
Some guarantees
with the new
for that.
company.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a conversation I wanted to have with this one and with the tentative budget, which are both willing to approve tonight. But I just sort of thinking about when we have savings from our solar, and we have created a water-wise quad, and looking at some of those things that we're paying for from Measure Q, I think it would be great and wise to look at where some of that. Right now, I know they're offline, so we're not actually getting any of that savings. But where we delineate some of that savings to, I know our programs would be very happy to have them, as soon as possible. But I think also we should look at making sure that some of those savings go to maintaining these things, including and increasing small caps that increase sustainability and other goals on campus too. And so just want to kind of suggest that as when we start looking at some of these savings that we can talk about it more later. So
Very good question.
I do.
Vice President Jackie Nguyen.
Yes, thank you so much, VP Wheat, for your presentation. You mentioned that this is a multi-phase. So how many stages are we expecting?
We're looking to do Vacaville and Vallejo first.
Okay.
And as long as they're able to source the materials that they say they can source and they're able to do the repairs, then we'll do the second phase, which is for the Fairfield campus.
Is there an estimate for a time frame for completion or anything?
I'm gonna turn to my facilities counterpart back here.
I
Do we know
apologize, I didn't mean
something?
to put you on the spot.
No,
Hi,
that's
Jason.
fine. They were scheduled to come out to pick the equipment on June 22nd, but they're gonna move it up a week, and hopefully in about, they said 3 weeks. I don't believe that. I wanted to give them a little bit more room, so I would say probably 2 or 2.5 months.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, VP Wheat. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's all right. That's why he's here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Trustee Karima.
That you don't believe them as we start the contract?
I believe them. And let me make that clear. I do believe them. I believe that they can do it, but we've had so many of our own problems trying to source it, that we now have this unicorn that's out there who says that they can do it. And so I'm just a little hesitant, in over-promising something because of our own problems that we have, not because of the company.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you for that clarification, and we will look forward to a follow-up after that. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? The motion was passed. We're going to move on to 13H, VP Wheat, on the tentative budget.
Yes, thank you. We're going to put the presentation up on the screens. Hopefully he hears me to do that. This screen over here is not working tonight, so it'll be over here. It's also in your agenda packet for our tentative budget for 26-27. we'll see if this works. Otherwise, I'll go up to the podium. So just some of the stuff, I'm going to actually bring it up so I have it a little bit more in front of me, so I don't have to squint so much. Some of our, I apologize, I should have had this open. There we go. Oh. I wanted to highlight our May revise that just came out a few weeks ago, the governor's May revise. Governor Newsom has been very positive supporting the community colleges over the course of his terms, and this budget reflects that just as well. He is looking to balance the state budget as well before he leaves his office, which is good for everybody and their fiscal stability. Making sure, yeah. Are we there? That's all right. That's all right. I get it. Okay. So some of the significant items in the May revise is increased community college funding. He has been, like I said, very good about making sure that we have COLA for the cost of living adjustments. But it also is balancing any deficits that have been in the past, making sure our Prop 98 is fully funded, things of that nature. So really closing out his term to make sure that the promises that he's made to community colleges in the past are fulfilled before he leaves. Part of it is a 4.31 COLA, cost of living adjustment for our SCFF, our student-centered funding formula, and some of our categorical funds. Not all of that 4.31% COLA is necessarily what they call statutory COLA. Statutory COLA is typically what's passed on to our employees. The statutory COLA is 2.87%. And then they also provided a 1.4% COLA, or on our SCFF, for paid maternity leave. This is for faculty paid maternity leave, which they currently don't get. They don't get disability from the state from any maternity leave. And so this is, as long as the community college is willing to participate in the paid faculty maternity leave, we get the additional 1.4%. One of the things that kind of struck me as I was reading the May revise, though, you can see it's 4.31% COLA, but 2.87 and 1.41 do not equal 4.31%, so we're unsure where that other 0.04% is at in there. I'm assuming that's going to get either adjusted or spelled out a little bit more at the state budget level. So when you see that, it doesn't add up. We all know that it doesn't add up. But I wanted to make sure to point that out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This particular is just for faculty. Our CSEA and our Local 39 employees do get state disability. No, I'm turning to this one over here.
This was something that was bargained specifically in for our academic employees. A lot of it is to help benefit our adjunct faculty because they don't work enough hours to be eligible for FMLA under federal law. This would ensure that they would get 100% pay for, I believe, 16 weeks. I'm sorry, the state calls it pregnancy disability. We all know that it's not a disability, but that's how it's classified. Yeah. But yes, so that is where that is coming from, and it was, I expect it'll be a couple of years that it'll go to the classified as well. Usually the classified are a couple of years behind in the lobby in Sacramento. CTA and AFT tend to have very strong lobbies and get things in first, and the classified unions will jump on board and lobby that as well. But they do have what's called baby bonding right now, which is 50% pay for 12 weeks once the baby is born, and that is available to both groups.
And that bonding time is available to both mothers and fathers, just as a side put to that.
That was 6 weeks. Is it now 12? Okay. All right.
We're a little different. We don't do state disability, which state disability is 6 weeks. The Ed Code provides for 12 weeks, so.
Interesting.
Some of the other items that we've talked about in the past is the enrollment growth funding is still in the May revise. It's 1.5% over the course of 2 years. That is for both 25-26 and 26-27. We got 1% in this current year, and we'll get 0.5% in the upcoming year, which is really good because we continue to grow. And this is the funding actually allows for some of that growth. There is some deferred maintenance in the May revise. I don't know why it shrunk down my print type there, but there is some deferred maintenance in the May revise. It's about 120 million for the entire state. So depending on how they parse that out, we could be looking at about $1 million for that. I'm a little leery on deferred maintenance funds from the state because if you remember a few years ago, they gave us about $6 million. We spent it and then they took away $4 million of it after it was spent. So I'm a little cautious on that one, but it's good to see that they are seeing that there is deferred maintenance needs at our community colleges. And then it also has one-time funds for our student support block grant, which started this year and continues into next year. Which we're looking at a variety of things. One of them is for our employees in Solano County that have been laid off because of the closures, getting them some certificates and credentials and short-term programs, and then other student supports that we're looking at to help our students sort of thrive and succeed at the college. I keep looking over at that one and it's not changing. If we look at our unrestricted fund, general fund, this looks really ugly for this year. And I know that that's kind of small on there. If we look at our estimated actuals, you're seeing a $17 million deficit, which is not what we planned on. Not at all. If you remember this time last year, I was anticipating about a $4 or $5 million deficit. State sent us more money. We actually had a surplus, paid out that surplus. Then they came back and said, oh yeah, we shouldn't have paid you that money. That gave you that flip-flop last year. So they took back $7.5 million, which hurts. Plus we had already paid out the surplus of about $4.4 million. So approximately $12 million of that is because of this one item. Had we not had that, had we not been so happy just to have the surplus and not take a step back a little bit before we paid it out, we would have been coming in under what our adopted budget was. Our adopted budget was $6 million deficit, probably would have been closer to $5 million. We would have been closer on target. One thing I want to point out in all of this is that our ending fund balance, and we'll get it on the next page, you'll see it, our ratios for our required reserve and our stability reserve are still at a healthy level with this one time. So I want to point that out. We're still at a good point. When we're looking for next year, we have the COLA in there, both the paid faculty maternity leave and the statutory COLA, which is why you see a big increase, because that's a pretty big jump that they're doing. If we need to make any adjustments once the state budget comes out, we'll do that in the adopted budget. We are projecting conservatively on our full-time student enrollment, full-time equivalent students. So we're keeping it flat as what we have this year, but we're already seeing a growth in our enrollment for fall. So we're being conservative, but also showing what the college needs. Our salaries and benefits are about 83.6% of our overall expenses, which is right in line where a education institution should be. It should be between 80 and 85%. Any more and you're or less, you're off balance on your salaries. Absolutely. Yes. I expected questions. Sure. Absolutely. So this was eye opener. When I remember when, you know, when we got the funding last year, we're like, great, they did some recalculation, we got more funds. Didn't question it. And so we did the payout. We're looking now in the future, we won't do a surplus payout until all annual recalculations are done, which is the following February. We've always paid it out in October in the past and have never had an issue. The calculations that we get from the state are pretty accurate. This was a big one that unfortunately was a mess up on their end for paying it to us before that calculation was done. I don't know where that misstep happened on their end. They caught it, they took it back. Unfortunately, in their line items that they give us, it's just a prior year adjustment, and it doesn't break it out. So it's just prior year adjustment, negative 7.5 million approximately. So we're looking at ways that we can better protect the college in the future so that it doesn't end up like this again.
So I want to just add to Susan, I've already started to talk about the recalc, and so I think that's really important. So it's the state does pull back funds. And so as we've talked about kind of what the budget looks like in reality, waiting until after the recalc is going to be very important. And that's the adjustment that we're going to make, and then keeping abreast of when the state pulls back funds so that we don't assume a surplus when they have the option of pulling funds back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vice President Jackie Lynn. Thank you, Dr. Butler.
If this happened to us, how are we going to guarantee that this doesn't happen again for the final term of the administration? I'm not saying anything negative about the governor, but $17 million budget deficit?
It's a big one. And this is still a really conservative estimate. It'll probably come in a little bit lower than that once we finalize the year and close out the year. But that's kind of where we're estimating it at right now.
Shouldn't there have been some red flags last year when the non-legislative LAO, non-legislative analyst office, pushed out a report during the economic forecast in November that basically said that the state was in an $18 billion budget shortfall? Shouldn't there have been some type of red flag for us in regards to that there was that economic forecast that came out? And so now we're looking at a $17 million budget shortfall and money has been clawed back. I'm shocked. And how is this not going to be guaranteed that it's going to happen next year? And with the state facing a multi-budget deficit, structural deficit, what does that mean for us?
No, I understand your concern. This has kept me up many nights when we saw this. We can't guarantee anything, unfortunately. We can protect ourselves. That's why we have our reserves to protect ourselves. The state budget that's going to come out in July, we'll make some adjustments based on what that state budget looks like. But there are no guarantees, unfortunately.
And for clarity, the November report that came out was for 26-27, not 25-26. And so it's pulling back funds that have already been allocated after budget close and audit.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification, but still there was that red flag right there that was raised.
I mean, I'm cautious this year. We're being told that the state budget is being balanced and there's not going to be deficit. That's pretty far reaching for how much the state's been in a deficit in the last several years. So I expect changes once the state budget comes out.
We were also told a couple of years ago that we had a $100 billion budget surplus.
Yeah, so I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Trustee Carey, you got one?
Just be cautious. Already doing that. Yeah, already doing that.
Thank you. And VP, I know that in times past, we've had situations where there was monies given, money taken, and then we always have these projections. You've always been very good in the team about projections, so I appreciate your honesty about this, what's going on, and as you know, you gotta wait that full year cycle, and I appreciate that we'll be able to learn from this and
Absolutely.
make sure we're back where we were a couple of years ago.
Absolutely.
I'm confident that the
Absolutely.
transparency there.
You will see, in the budget itself, we're making for next year, for the tentative budget, again, updates will be made once the state budget comes out. We were projected as a $6 million budget deficit this current year. We are already making strides to reduce that so that we are going in the right direction. And we are conservative when we make those projections, so I don't want to say cautiously optimistic. I am hopeful that our expenses will not be as high as what we estimate them to be based on our past practice of not just spending to spend, but spending with thought.
Intention, right?
Yeah, spending with
Can I
intention.
just tag on real fast? VP Wheat, thank you so much. I do echo what President Cargo-Reed said about your transparency and honesty about that. I'm sorry if I fired those questions to you. It was not meant personally. It was really more of a shock hearing this information that
Absolutely.
came out. And so it's really more of when we vote up here on the dais, when the trustees vote, we vote on facts that we are given at that time and moment in real time. So to hear this, it's really very concerning. And I do also echo my colleague to my right here, Trustee Kara, that we need to be more careful, in terms of not just cautiously optimistic, but just be more careful. And I know you are in terms of what you shared with us, and, you are very astute when it comes to this. So thank you.
Thank you. I don't take it personally. This is my job, and it's my job to be as transparent and to give you the information. And I welcome your questions. I welcome your concerns. So please never feel that you can't ask them.
Thank you.
So we'll go on to the ending fund balance. As I said, even with where we were at, with a $17 million deficit, our ending fund balance is still relatively stable. Our required and stability reserve ratio is at 23%. We like to stay between 20 and 25. You'll see that there's a typo, but the 24-25 surplus payout is now out of the reserve because it's in the actuals. You'll also see that in that technology non-capital expense reserve, it has gone back down to $869,000. That's because we take 20% of any surplus and put it into that. I've taken that back out since the surplus is no longer valid. So we're going back before the surplus amount on that. For the 26-27 budget, you'll also notice that the salary improvements from 22-23 are out. That was to be taken out of the reserve for 5 years. This is our 5th year this year, so it's no longer in the reserve. And so that is coming out too. Our tentative budget is having our required instability reserve ratio at 21.58% for the new year. And then going federal funds, and at this time, our tentative budget estimates approximately the same funding in next year as we have for this year. This includes any carryover that we have in any new allocations. So right around $649,000. Most of our federal funds is for our work study, our Veterans Center, and some of our early learning center. Going on to state funds, I did not have a listing of all the categorical funds in the presentation. It is in the main budget present. It's in this. But I gave you a summary here on the state funds for the purpose of the presentation. It is a tentative budget for next year is a little bit lower than for this year, and that's because we're actually spending the carryover amounts as we should. And so there's not as much carryover going into the new year. Still having the funds that we need to take care of our programs. There haven't been any programs cut at this point.
That's what I was gonna ask.
We will keep an eye on that as we move forward as well. And then we have our outlook for our other funds that are also in greater detail in the tentative budget booklet. But this is just for your review. We have several funds that are zero-based budgets, which means revenues have to equal expenses. The way that the accounting works on those particular types of funds. You'll see the self-insurance fund, Fund 61. You'll see the expenses are much greater than the revenues. I want to point out that's the one that we transfer money into to pay for our property and liability insurance. And then Fund 84, our OPEB, our other post-employment benefit funds. I put a note in there that there's also that $4 million that's in our reserve from our general fund as well. Looking at our budget timeline, like I said, the state budget comes out in July. We'll bring this back for an information item for the adopted budget at the end of August, and then for a public hearing and a vote in September for the adopted budget. For right now, we are asking that you approve the tentative budget for 26-27. Approval of the tentative budget means that we can continue our operations and make payments to our vendors and our employees once July 1st hits. So we're asking for your approval.
All right, thank you. And,
I move for approval of the tentative budget for 2026-2027 year.
do I have a second? All right, it was moved by trustee Anne Marie Young and seconded by trustee Rosemary Thurston to approve the tentative budget. And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? The motion is passed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I do, and I apologize, I should have said this sooner. We do take, I do take the budget to the Fiscal Advisory Council as well, which has all of our governance stakeholders from our unions, and we do review it with them as well. So all of our unions are aware of what just happened as well. So
Thank you so much for
Thank
that additional information. And yes, it's a little bit of Russian roulette on that. So we'll see what happens, but I appreciate that you're planning for the pros and cons. So thank you for the transparency and information. Right, we're moving on. 14A, information.
yes, last but not least, this is a first reading, an informational item of a new board policy 3880, which is for unmanned aircraft systems, which more notably known as drones, across our campus. This is not for approval. We'll bring it back at our next meeting for approval. This is the first reading for this new policy, and Chief Brian Travis is here to answer any questions should you have them.
All right, moving on.
It's an
Page
add-on.
219.
It's the last item, and we 220, and we did include a draft of the administrative procedures as well.
Perfect. Yes,
I have a question. So what if there's?
hold on,
Oh, I
yes.
apologize. Sorry.
I did not recognize you. You have to wait to be recognized. Vice President Jackie Nguyen.
I have shooter type of situation, public safety situation here on the campus. Somebody happens to come on campus, has weapons, and how does that work? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Travis. If you could please answer these great questions. Very good, thank you.
Vice President, so if there were to be an active shooter incident. Of course.
Thank you, it's on now.
It's on now? Okay.
Right, so,
It's on,
It's
okay.
on red, yeah, it's on now. It's on.
It's on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So if there were to be an incident, myself and officers would respond as soon as possible and try to neutralize the suspect. And then we would have to call for mutual aid assistance because usually we only have one sworn on. And I would be that person to respond if it's in the AM. If it's on the PM, it's on the PM, then Sergeant Williams, who's back there, he would respond. And again, we would have to call for mutual aid from Solano County Sheriff's Office, CHP, or the Fairfield Police Department. They would come and assist us with the incident.
Does that mean if there's a needed of a drone to fly around the campus, is that going to be used, or does this policy apply in terms of,
Yeah, so
public safety situation?
the purpose of our drone policy is to promote safety, to protect privacy, and also to make sure that we comply with applicable laws and minimize the risk for our campus. One way that we would use if we have an active shooter and if we need to find out where that person is, we don't know where the shooter is at the time. Instead of using me or someone else to go and try to find this person, we could use the drone to go and try to find this person if they're hunkered down somewhere. So that way it doesn't expose us to dangerous situations. We could use the drone for sure to go and try to find the person. Yes.
Thank you so much, Chief, for your response and for being
I'll
here
stay up here
tonight.
just in case there are more questions.
Yeah, so, on your drone policies, that's kind of interesting. Can you please elaborate how we're gonna protect our students' privacy and faculty who have concerns about this?
Of course. So currently, President Cargo Reed, a person comes on our campus right now and would fly a drone. We really don't have a policy right now to tell them, hey, you can't fly the drone. And we have received calls that there are drones flying on our campus, and we would have to go and try to find this person. Usually the pilot is holding a remote control. And so we really don't have a policy right now to say, hey, you can't fly this drone. And a lot of times because of the war in Ukraine and Iran, it's dangerous to have drones just flying above our campus. Sometimes people could use it to collect data, do like a recon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to come up and say, hey, listen, there is a policy, we would need to know when you like to fly, what purpose you're flying the drone for, and so that way we can monitor when they use the drone on campus. Now, our teachers can use the drone for educational purposes. We just need to know if whoever's flying that drone, we need to know who that person is. So that way we can help protect our students, faculty, and visitors on our campus.
Well,
I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Yes. Is there any questions for Chief Travis? All right. Yes, Trustee Kremer.
So what we're saying is some people coming onto our campus, is that what we're saying?
We're not limiting. We want to know ahead of time who's flying the drone. That way we can protect our students, ourselves, and the campus. The difference is that we have a policy that says, hey, these are the steps that you have to go through to get approval to fly the drones. The other way, if we don't have a drone policy, then we really can't tell them that, and they can obviously file a complaint. So currently, we really don't have a policy that regulate And that would, again, protect our privacy, and promote safety and minimize the risk for our students right now. So that's why we need to come up with a policy to fly these drones, because you can go on Amazon and get one of these drones for about $300. And I mean, people would love to fly them. So.
I'm just wondering why we're allowing the possibility of drones.
Well, so we,
Are we statutorily allowed to fly drones on our
so drones are obviously, when you use them right, it's very helpful, especially
I'm not
for.
saying us, but somebody coming off campus and deciding to film everything.
It is a public place that they can come on weekends and they can fly. So we can have a blanket law or board policy that says they can't fly. But again, that is something that's up to the board here
I
to,
just wanted to understand.
Of course.
What we're doing.
of course,
Basically, we're having tools, people apply,
yes,
and we can decide whether they have the right to fly on our property.
that's
or
correct.
not.
That's correct, Trustee Karina, yes.
And just to note, this is coming as an information item, so if there are adjustments or changes that board trustees would like to make, this is the
The
time.
time to do it.
I
Yes.
just wanted to understand what, and we ourselves are not using drones to watch everybody.
No, so that would be, no, we wouldn't use that.
We don't currently have a drone in the Department of Public Safety.
That is something we would ask in the future,
I hope so.
yes, of course.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
that.
thank you so much,
Chavez.
trustees.
Thank you for clarification. Do we have any announcements, trustees? Superintendent President,
I do have one on the side.
trustee?
Sure. Firstly, I just want to thank everybody for graduation. This is the first meeting since, and it's a really great event, and a perfect weather. We can get too hot and too cold really fast. I think it was perfect, and so couldn't have asked for better. So thank you very much for everybody involved that does that. Our dual enrolled students are graduating from high school on Friday, and so they're at Rodriguez High, and so thank you, Amber, Trustee Cargo for joining us for our senior awards celebration. We have 100 at each grade, and so we have about 100 seniors each year. This year there are 40 that have received associate's degrees, and so that's a outstanding achievement to finish associate's degree before you graduate. We originally, I'll just give a brief history. When we thought like, oh yeah, this is like that's the goal, but we were never designed, and nor did we ever set our goal to be a high honors program. We really wanted to encapsulate students who may not have thought of college as an option, and so we quickly learned like our priority was succeeding well in your classes and doing well before not jamming in as many classes to get an associate's. And so we've been just monitoring like what's the right level, and this about 30 to 40 has been right for the last year, a couple of years. Everybody graduates with a lot of units, and so there's a high average of I think Pizzo said the number was it like around 50 units average. It's such an enormous number of units, but about 30 to 40 each year finish an associate's degree, and so they're off to many great places, and many of them are joining us for another year to finish out a degree and apply as transfers. So thanks. I just thought I would share that good news.
Thank you so much.
Thank everybody for the graduation. It was wonderful. How excited students are at their accomplishments. I thought maybe we would think about making them a little bit more oomph, because a lot of the kids, I shouldn't say kids, I know, but I'm old. As they came up, they were talking about colleges they were going to, save as our, someone said they've gotten into med school, and I was wondering if there's a kind of way that we can actually celebrate them, so that people can actually have that document. I know that it's a very long celebration, and we don't want to add more to it, but, the other thing was how many first generation students we had graduating. and whatever, they stand up, but maybe we should have first generation veterans coming in. So, I mean, all these people have done a lot to get their degree, but maybe we should just do more than just give them a degree.
Okay.
I just have one, may I speak?
Go.
Yes, thank you. At the last Solano County School Board Association, the board voted to start implementing dues again for the 7 to 8 districts here in Solano. And so a letter will be going out to the superintendent, board president very soon. During COVID, the fees were not collected because, you know, there weren't any in-person events, but now we're being more active, and so fees are going to be implemented. And I believe at the last board meeting, which unfortunately I did not make, I was told that they passed it, and so for a district with 5 trustees, I believe would be $100. For a district with 7 trustees, it would be about $140. So, and that's going to be from July 1st of 2026 through June 30th of 2027. So we kind of adopted like the fiscal calendar about. So just wanted to make that announcement.
Thank you. And just invoice, make sure that they,
Yes, the invoice would be sending,
Invoices,
will be just, I've written the letter already and the invoice will be sent out, but I wanted to share that with everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have one thing to say from the college, is that in previous years, we celebrated women's veterans. And so I would like to, I'm a little late this month, we've been very busy, and yes, graduation was amazing, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into that, but I do want to find out if we should be, we could do the Women's Veterans Day resolution again this month to honor our women veterans. And in previous years, it was June 12th as Women's Veterans Day resolution. So I wanted to bring that up, that we admire and appreciate that this college was actually the first community college to acknowledge our women's veterans and celebrate them. And to me, that was, for all of us board members, is a very big deal. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank my fellow trustees for supporting this, our veteran community, especially our women veterans.
Good idea. I invite Pete Heggs out to read it.
Kidding. All right, so thank you.
So.
Trying up a Saturday night live.
Women, so not a lot of women to get for a chance.
All right.
Forces.
Thank you.
I'd like, another item that is as significant as that one, I'd like to see if we could get a better sound system. This one clearly doesn't.
Yes. I concur with you.
But,
I concur.
Jackie, would you turn it on? Nothing happens.
I can hear you when I got this in my ear.
Duly noted. We discussed in my
Give them an
facilities
update.
update,
Yes.
and they're looking at some options to replace.
Please. Some that work.
All right. No, I agree. Thank you so much. We really. Okay, thank you. Point of order. All right, so we're going to, is there any other information items? If not, we're going to do an adjournment. Having no other items, who is second this motion?
I move that we adjourn.
All right, it was moved by trustee Emery Young and seconded by trustee Rosemary. Meeting is over and will be adjourned at 8:23 p.m.